Caitlin Clark hype ain't as big as it was. We all could agree on that. But something we all did not expect was the WNBA negotiations to actually use Caitlin Clark hype as leverage for former players.
Okay, this is wild. The WNBA isn't just heating up on the court anymore. There's a huge storm brewing behind the scenes. We're talking about former WNBA players allegedly using the massive Caitlin Clark hype as a major negotiation tactic for the new collective bargaining agreement. They're being accused of leveraging her insane popularity to push for more money, way better benefits, and even some personal perks.
They're trying to use Caitlin Clark hype to generate revenue for former players that played before them. What the like, y'all realize y'all ain't even getting money now like that.
What began as a low-key chat about improving the league has totally blown up into a massive debate over who actually deserves the rewards of Caitlin's success. You've got current and past players clashing hard over recognition and the money rolling in. So, the big question hanging in the air is this: is Caitlin Clark's unprecedented impact truly being celebrated, or is she just being exploited?
In this podcast, they spoke about the charter flights. Now, we know when Caitlin Clark first got there, within 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks of Caitlin Clark getting drafted, they got these damn charter flights. I mean, Kathy wasted no time. Hey, look, we finna get y'all these charter flights, and we finna get y'all better hotels. Boom, 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 boom. Wasted no time, right?
So where did all this start? Well, it kicked off during an episode of the WNBA podcast, Full Circle, hosted by Lexi Brown and another former player. What sounded like a pretty chill conversation about league problems suddenly took a crazy turn, revealing something that absolutely stunned fans. The host straight up talked about the upcoming CBA negotiations, and pretty clearly hinted that Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise was becoming the key bargaining chip.
Quickly after that, literally within, I'd say 6 months, they get a new a TV rights deal. $2 billion TV rights deal out of left field like that. So the NBA was negotiating their current TV rights deal. Now, Adam Silver, being the smart businessman that he is, thought it'd be very profitable to, you know what, we're just going to throw the WNBA into our TV rights negotiation. Now, they never done this before. Now, boom, he got the WNBA $2 billion. Now, he simply did that because of who? Caitlin Clark.
They actually pointed out all these sudden massive improvements. Think charter flights, that new TV rights deal worth billions, and how everything seemed to magically appear right after Caitlin officially joined the league. The vibe wasn't subtle at all. They were basically saying, hey, this new wave of insane attention, it's finally our chance to lock in way better pay and benefits for all players, current and even those who've retired.
Yes, Caitlin Clark is the reason they got the $2 billion TV rights deal. And now they want to use Caitlin Clark as leverage to get former WNBA players that y'all swear up and down, that y'all swear to God is better than Caitlin Clark. I mean, they swear these players, your Cheryl Swoops, your Diana Taurasi, your Maya Morse, all these players y'all swear is better than Caitlin, right? Well, if they was so much better than Caitlin, shouldn't they had already been getting their fair share of money? Like, y'all can't use.
And for tons of fans, that specific statement was the literal spark that set this entire situation on fire. Instead of everyone celebrating the league's progress, it sounded like some former stars were lining up to cash in big time on someone else's popularity. Caitlin Clark's name, which was once this powerful symbol of hope for women's basketball, was suddenly being thrown around like cold hard cash for negotiations.
I remember my first 3 years in the league, we were still flying commercial. We were sharing hotel rooms like we were in college, and that was just the norm. Like, that's just, that's what we expected when you had a dream of being the WNBA. You talk to other players, and they were very transparent about, okay, guys, like, this is not going to be like college. Like, you're back at the airports. You might have to share a room if you're a rookie. And, we were just all like, yeah, the W, like, it's our dream. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever. Like, I've always wanted to play the WNBA.
Get this. The podcast also revealed some seriously uncomfortable truths about the league's financial reality back in the day. Lexi specifically mentioned that players used to have to share hotel rooms, fly commercial everywhere, and even practice in gyms right next to Zumba classes. Talk about a glow up.
That wasn't negotiated in our CBA, the charter flights. Kathy kind of was just like, here, charter flights. So that's something that we also have to renegotiate in our CBA.
Kathy wasn't like that. Adam Silver got y'all those damn charter flights. See, Caitlin Clark got y'all those. There's no like here. No, that ain't how it worked, bro.
Now, these vivid gut-wrenching details painted a clear picture of struggle. But here's the kicker, it also raised a huge question. If things were that bad for so long, why didn't the league or its veteran players push for massive changes earlier? Fans online immediately honed in on this tension. Social media blew up, with threads accusing some players of pure jealousy and massive entitlement. Of course, others jumped in to defend them, arguing that women's sports have always been undervalued. And Caitlin's fame just finally cranked up the spotlight. But the underlying anger was crystal clear. People were furious that the very figures who seemed to ignore the league's problems for years were now using Caitlin Clark's name to demand more. And that, my friends, is exactly when the real backlash began. Caitlin Clark. Listen, she never asked to be the face of a league's financial revolution. Yet here we are. Her name is being thrown around in every single boardroom, podcast and press release tied to the WNBA's future. The moment she entered the league, everything just shifted overnight. We're talking charter flights, media explosion, record-breaking ticket sales, and even a massive $2 billion TV rights deal. All largely fueled by her popularity. But instead of uniting everyone, this success became a huge dividing line. Many players, especially the veterans, started seeing Clark's presence as pure leverage. Some argued that if she could bring in unprecedented audiences and new sponsorships, then the entire league deserved a bigger piece of the pie, including those who came before. But others, they saw it as a shameless grab, just trying to ride the wave of one player's success. The thing is, Caitlin's rise isn't just about basketball. It's about perfect timing, cultural impact, and a connection with a whole new demographic of fans. This brought undeniable revenue, but also deep resentment among players who'd been grinding for years without this kind of spotlight. Suddenly, legends like Diana Taurasi and Cheryl Swoops were name-dropped in debates about fairness and legacy. Should they get new benefits just because Caitlin drew in new sponsors? Or does that totally undermine her current work? This whole discussion quickly morphed into a brutal power struggle between generations. One side claiming they built the foundation, the other arguing they finally made people care. And as the tension spread, it became clear, Caitlin Clark wasn't just a player anymore. She was a symbol everyone wanted a piece of, whether she licked it or not. While honoring pioneers isn't controversial, the tone of these demands feels less like respect and more like resentment. Lexi Brown and others on the podcast talked about better healthcare and pensions for retired athletes, which sounds fair, but fans felt they were using Caitlin's achievements as a shortcut to perks they were never promised. She didn't negotiate the TV deal or approve charter flights. She just played her game and ignited a cultural wave. Yet her popularity is suddenly the justification for retroactive rewards. What made it worse was the sheer entitlement in some conversations. Frustration that success didn't arrive sooner. Veterans claimed they walked so Caitlin could run, but fans found that dismissive. Social media blew up, asking why these same players didn't attract viewers during their time. Current players are caught in the middle, appreciating Clark but fearing backlash if they speak up. The locker room unity is cracking, and with CBA negotiations looming, this fight for credit and recognition is dividing the league deeper than ever. Behind closed doors, CBA talks are a full-blown power struggle between the past, present, and future of the WNBA. Former players want pensions, current ones want stability. Executives are on a tightrope knowing every demand is amplified by Clark. The WNBA Players Association is using Clark's momentum as their ace card, pointing to skyrocketing sales and ratings. But here's the twist. Many of those numbers are tied to Caitlin's personal brand, not necessarily league-wide growth. Owners fear that once her hype slows, today's financial promises could collapse. This tension has made negotiations public, turning opinion into a weapon, which is backfiring. Fans feel alienated by perceived greed. The truth is a complex clash of generations, pride, and survival. Caitlin Clark's name now carries more negotiating power than any executive, and that power is dangerous. Unleashed incorrectly, it becomes ammunition, not inspiration. This next battle phase will expose how truly divided the league is. When those Full Circle podcast clips hit the internet, social media became a war zone. Fans accused former players of jealousy and hypocrisy. Memes comparing packed Clark arenas to half-empty past games spread like wildfire. A brutal message. Clark changed the game, and others were just trying to ride her wave. While some defended veterans, saying women's basketball always struggled, and Clark provided overdue leverage, The overall online tone was overwhelmingly negative. Viewers new to the league felt betrayed by the internal drama. Influencers and ex-NBA players called it self-sabotage. One viral comment perfectly summed it up. Caitlyn's building the house, and everyone else is arguing over who gets the biggest bedroom. WNBA leadership stayed silent, allowing the narrative to spiral. Meanwhile, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, who quietly bundled the WNBA into the NBA's new $2 billion TV rights deal, watched this chaos unfold. His goal was financial stability, not civil war. He didn't expect Clark's stardom to overshadow everything and expose deep cracks in leadership. Silver's reportedly frustrated with how the WNBA front office, led by Kathy Engelbert, handled the surge. Instead of long-term strategies, it's been constant damage control, making sponsors nervous. Behind closed doors, NBA executives are urging the WNBA to control its internal politics, seeing Clark as a rare opportunity that could vanish if players keep weaponizing her success. The irony is stark. A TV deal meant to unite the sport is now dividing it. Clark is being dragged into battles she never started, and Silver is losing patience. What happens next will decide the WNBA's future control. Inside locker rooms, tension is palpable. Younger players ride the wave of new sponsorships and packed arenas, while veterans feel overshadowed. It's a fight over identity, power, and who defines women's basketball. A clear divide exists between the new era, Clark, Reese, Brink, social media savvy, and the old guard, minimal exposure, rare stability. The spotlight on Clark feels like a shortcut veterans never had, leading to frustration and demands for wealth redistribution. But critics argue it's not Clark's job to fix decades of underpayment. Even within the Indiana Fever, players feel the pressure, some appreciating Caitlyn, others tired of her name dominating headlines. This simmering tension threatens to spill over. Admiration for Clark has morphed into envy, politics, and a fight for narrative control. Can the WNBA survive its growing pains, or will jealousy destroy the progress Clark helped create? The strangest twist is how quickly adoration turned to resentment. Just months ago she was a savior. Now, as her popularity grew, everyone wanted a piece. She went from player to commodity. Interviews shifted focus to how her fame should benefit others. Articles implied collective victory, but entitlement for everyone, except Caitlyn. Her name was used to push agendas, defend demands, justify past struggles, leading to a toxic backlash. Media that built her up now sought to humble her, magnifying every mistake. Veterans publicly minimized her, implying privilege over performance, shifting the narrative from phenom to problem. Yet, through it all she remained silent, her quiet focus on the game becoming her greatest weapon. While others talk and negotiate, she plays and inspires. This moment will define the WNBA's future. If the league keeps attacking its biggest draw, it risks alienating the very audience it worked so hard to build. Caitlyn Clark's story is about hero worship turning into envy, and a league deciding whether to protect its star or feed off her until nothing's left. The WNBA is at a crossroads. Clark's rise exposed deep fractures between generations, ideals and those who build versus those who benefit. Former players want credit, current stars want progress, and fans just want the drama to stop. Caitlyn Clark didn't create this tension. She revealed it. Whether the WNBA unites behind her success or lets jealousy tear it apart will determine its legacy in sports history.